scalar and vector. Okay, so scalar. So how to represent the scalar quantity? A scalar quantity, how, for example, displacement. Displacement means, you know that displacement means what is the we are moving from one place to another, AB. So AB will give me this is the displacement. So this is a scalar quantity. I need only the magnitude. For example, this is 5 kilometer. So the magnitude is how much? 5 kilometer. Right. Vector means what? I should have both the magnitude and the direction, isn't it? I should have both magnitude and direction. For example, again I write AB. So these are all basics for you. So AB gives me the magnitude of the vector. Okay, AB gives, for example, this is also 5 kilometer. A person has moved for 5 kilometer towards north. Okay, so magnitude is given by the length of the arrow mark. The length of the arrow mark, which is AB, gives the magnitude of the vector. It gives either it is equal to or it is proportional to. Okay, what does it mean? Here see, AB is 5 kilometer means, that means each centimeter, okay, each 1 centimeter corresponds to how much? 1 kilometer. Correct. So what I'll say, the length of the arrow gives me the magnitude, or it is proportional to the magnitude of the vector. Okay, and this arrow mark gives me what? What does this arrow mark give me? It gives me the, oh come on, C section. Arrow mark gives me the direction of the vector. It gives me the arrow mark gives me the direction of the vector. So in general, if I have any, for example, I have velocity. Okay, if I have force also, this is represented, a vector quantity is represented by arrowhead above. Isn't it? Arrowhead above. Right. So these are the basics which you already know. Now let us go for the first definition. What is a unit vector? What is a unit vector? Okay. Yeah. Can you tell me from the name itself? What is a unit vector? It is represented by AR cap. We call this as AR cap. So AR cap is a unit vector. What does it indicate? Students, AR cap is a unit vector. It is a vector, okay, which is whose magnitude is always 1. Okay, unit vector is a vector whose magnitude is always 1. Okay, and it is used only to represent the direction of the vector. For example, when I have drawn this vector, let us say, and if this is a magnitude, if this is a vector f vector, okay, so AB will give me the magnitude. What I'll do, I will draw this unit vector parallel to this vector. AR vector is a unit vector which is used to indicate the direction of the vector. How to represent it? I will draw it parallel to the given vector. For same way, if I have, I am having acceleration here. Okay, I'm having acceleration here. What I'll do? I'll draw a unit vector parallel to this acceleration. It will indicate the direction and the magnitude will give the vector. Okay, so from the name itself, unit vector is a vector whose magnitude is always 1. Unity, right? Okay, with that. And so how to represent? For example, I have this is a vector. No? So this vector now is represented by RAR cap. Okay, where R is a magnitude. R is a magnitude. Can you see that? This vector is a force I have taken. So F vector is represented by RAR cap. R means gives the magnitude of the vector. AR cap gives the direction of the vector. It gives the direction of the vector. Okay, now let us see the next definition, the second one. What are base vectors? Anyone has idea? What are base vectors? Can anyone guess and tell me? What are base vectors? Students, base vectors. If I'm drawing the diagram, I have a coordinate axis, okay, X, Y, Z. Now, at least when I draw the diagram, you should tell me what are base vectors. Now tell me, what are base vectors? Base vectors are also unit vectors, but can you guess? Base vectors are also unit vectors, but they are Can you see the diagram? They are oriented along the axis. They are oriented along the respective axis. See, AY cap is oriented along the Y axis. AZ cap is oriented along the Z axis. AX cap is oriented along the X axis. So A base vectors are also unit vectors which are oriented along the respective axis. Okay, and they are always pointing away from the origin. They are pointing away from the origin. Okay, now, so let us define base vector. Base vectors are unit vectors which are oriented away from the origin, and they are they are inclined along the direction of the respective axis. Okay, so this was the second definition you're supposed to know. Third one, is it new, base vector, for you? Students, base vector is new. Okay, now see, in between, I'm after half an hour of the class, I'm going to take attendance. Okay, in between also I'll take. You have to answer your attendance, otherwise no, you'll get attendance shortage now. We are all asked to prepare one to maintain the ACD register in the house itself. So we are maintaining that. So if you don't answer, you may lose your attendance. Right. Now tell me, next one is scalar product. Let us see some vector calculus, calculations of vectors. So you already know, I don't know how much, scalar product. Scalar product. What is the other name for scalar product? Or scalar product or dot product. Okay, scalar product or dot product. Okay, let us consider two vectors. I've taken two vectors, A vector and B vector are the two vectors. Now tell me, they will be inclined at some angle. Let us say they're inclined at some angle. This is A vector, this is B vector. Okay, and this is theta. Now tell me, what is the dot product? What is the dot product of these two vectors? A vector, B vector is equal to what? Dot product of two vectors is defined as. So I think I should start calling the names. Huh? Vasant Reddy is there? CA023? Absent. I'll take him as absent. What about Tripana Roy? Tripana Roy is there? Tripana Roy absent. Sayeda? Sayeda?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Sayeda, tell me dot product of these two vectors. What is A dot B? Max, you're doing no dot product of scalar product. This is 9th standard portions. That's why I'm not answering, ma'am. You should not say. Tell me dot product of two vectors is, it is the magnitude of the two vectors. Okay, it is a magnitude of the two vectors. This sign modulus means magnitude. Then cos of the angle between them. Cos of the angle between them. Scalar product or dot product of two vectors is defined as this is called dot product. No, A dot B is called. It is called dot product or scalar product. It is a product of. Can you see here? Product of the magnitude of the two vectors and cos of the angle between them. Cos of the angle between them. Can you see if theta is the angle between the two vectors? This is that. Okay. Give one example of dot product. For example, I have a current carrying conductor. Okay. Then if F is a force acting on the conductor and if DL is the length of the conductor, I have taken a conductor, current is flowing, DL is the length of the conductor. Now, what will be this? Can you tell if this also has direction? What is F dot DL? Students, dot product of F dot DL, what I should write? I should write modulus of F, then modulus of DL vector, then what angle will come? Rohit? Rohit, what angle will come here? Rohit is absent. Rishika, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
F dot dl is equal to what? Modulus of f, modulus of dl cos theta. Okay, so let us define scalar product. See, girls are not smart. Like boys, what you should do, you should not, when we call you, they are not telling the names, even though they're present. They'll keep silent because they don't want to answer. See, at the end, it will be difficult for you if you're not, you should be glued to the screen. So let us define the scalar product or dot product. It is defined as the product of magnitude of the two vectors and cos of the angle between them. Okay, cos of the angle between them is called scalar product or dot product. Let us go for cross product. At least now you can say what is cross product of two vectors. Cross product of two vectors. Okay, cross product of two vectors. Right, now I have a vector, I have b vector. Okay, dot product we saw. Dot product we got a dot b is equal to modulus of a, modulus of b, we got cos theta. Okay, now cross product means what? It is also called vector product. Okay, cross product, or it is called vector product. Vector product. Right, now a cross b vector, okay, is equal to what I'll write. Can anyone guess? This is called cross product or vector product. A cross product of two vectors is defined as, okay, again if I draw the diagram, this is a diagram of a vector, this is b vector making an angle theta. Okay, then it is modulus of a vector, the product of the modulus of the two vectors, and only one small change. What is that? What is that? It will give sine of the angle between them. It will give sine of the angle between them, and the cross product gives a new vector c vector. Okay, the cross product of two vectors gives a single vector, that is c vector, which is equal to modulus of a, modulus of b sine theta. Okay, this cross product has a direction. Okay, it has a direction, and you know what is the direction? The resultant, the c vector, is lying perpendicular. The c vector will lie perpendicular to both the a vector and the b vector. To the plane, the single vector c vector which we got is perpendicular to the plane which is containing both a vector and b vector. Okay, right. Have you heard about this or not? And how to write this a cross b? All in maths it is going on. Tell me how to write a cross b, which is equal to c vector in your this form, detergent form. What will write? Ax cap, ay cap. We can write ijk also, az cap. Then here what I should write? Ax, ay, then az, then bx, by, bz. Remember that? So the cross product is represented in the determinant form like this. Okay, in the determinant form like this. Now tell me what is ax cap, ay cap, and az cap? What are this? What are ax cap, ay cap, and az cap? The previous slide I showed, no? What are they?
Base vectors.
Base vectors. They are base vectors. Ax and this are the and ax, ay, az are the different coordinates of the this vector a vector, right? Okay, so this is what we saw. Now we have now seen what is scalar product, what is vector product. Okay, now this chapter, in this chapter of Maxwell's equations, okay, why we are seeing this module, we are going to see about whenever we talk about electric field and magnetic field. Okay, wherever applications of electric and magnetic field comes, there will be some places where the electric lines of force are diverging. At some places they'll be converging. In the same way about magnetic field also, magnetic lines of force also are having different effects. Now whenever there is a current carrying conductor, there is a magnetic field. Okay, there is a flux. So there is a relation between electric field and magnetic field. Okay, so in this chapter there are different laws that are giving us relation between magnetic and electric field. Okay, and if the electric field and the magnetic field travel perpendicular to each other, okay, if the electric and magnetic field travel perpendicular to each other, can you tell me what is the result? They are propagating perpendicular to each other, electric field and magnetic field. What is the result? Tell me. Anyone? A very intelligent question. Anyone intelligent person is there to answer this? Propagating electric and magnetic field produces what? Or is representing what?
Ma'am, electromagnetic force, ma'am.
Very good, very good. Who is that? Who is that?
Me, ma'am.
Me means
Chandu, ma'am.
Chandu.
Yes, ma'am.
Chandu, I give you 5 marks. Okay, I'll extra 5 marks in the lab. I'll give you for answering a very difficult question according to me. Okay, so but you have to remind me when you come back. You have to tell me, ma'am, you have to give me 5 marks. Okay, for the 5 marks for what I answered. You should remember that. Now see, don't think 5 marks is very less. Even 1 mark can make you difference between. You may get first class or you go for FCD, isn't it? FCD, you didn't get the results, right? So first FCD means first class with distinction. If you get 70%, 71%, it is FCD. If you get 69%, it is first class. So each marks counts. Okay, very good, Chandu. Right.
Thank you, ma'am.
So electric and magnetic field perpendicular each other is going to produce electromagnetic waves. Okay, so in this chapter, what is our course objectives and course outcomes? What we are going to study. So because of this, everywhere we are using electricity and magnetism. Whenever electricity is there, magnetism is there. So in this chapter, we are going to see so many laws. But they have reduced it, they have condensed it only to tell you the statement of the laws and the derivations. So we are going to see now. That is why we are talking about dot products and cross product, because there will be flux, there will be current, there will be density. This flux is there and current is there. So what we are going to see is, we are going to see Ampere's law, we are going to see Faraday's law, we are going to see Gauss law, we are going to see Gauss law in electrostatics, Gauss law in magnetism. Okay, we are going to see Faraday's laws, we are going to see Biot-Savart law. These are the laws we are going to see, and then we will show that. And Maxwell's 4 equations, there are only 4 equations of Maxwell's. Okay, but how it is derived? It is derived from all these laws. Standard 4 Maxwell's equations are there, which are derived from all these laws. And then Biot-Savart law, you know Ampere law, Faraday's law. So just one step ahead we are going to go in this chapter. Okay, and then what we are going to see, because these electromagnetic and electric and magnetic fields are propagating parallel to each other, they are producing EM waves. This was stated by Maxwell. Okay, and they found that what he said is correct. Whenever electric and magnetic, even in the case of AC current, because it is alternating, this AC current is producing magnetic field. And so when they propagate, that is called EM waves. So we'll be seeing little more about EM waves also. What are EM waves? So this is about the chapter. Okay, course, what is a course? CO means course objectives. What it is about that, right? Okay, students, with that, let us proceed for the next one. We have a symbol called del. Okay, del. What is this del? This del is a vector operator. It is only a vector operator because we are going to use that. And why we use this vector operator and why we use this del? Just to reduce our time to write the whole equation. Okay, just to reduce the time to write the whole equation. For example, del is represented by dou x of ax cap, okay, plus dou by dou y by ay cap, plus dou by dou z of az cap. This is the representation of del. Okay, and so what is this dou? Suddenly I'm saying dou. Dou is partial differentiation. Okay, partial differentiation. For example, if I have dou v by dou x, okay, ax cap, that means I'm talking about how the velocity is varying in x direction. And partial differentiation means I'm differentiating the velocity with respect to x direction, assuming that velocity is constant in the other two directions. Which are the other two directions? Ay cap and az cap. That is called dou by dou x. Okay, so dou, instead of d by dx, I wrote dou by dou x because it is partial differentiation. I'm going to differentiate velocity only with respect to x. Here you see, I'm going to differentiate any quantity with respect to y, assuming that that quantity remains constant in the other two directions. Which are the other two directions? X direction and z direction. Okay, students. So this is how. So we should also know what is del. Del is a vector operator which is used in mathematical calculations. The purpose is just to reduce writing elaborate lengthy equations. Okay, for example, if I write del v cap, you will understand that what does it mean? It means this. What does it mean? It means ax cap plus dou by dou y, vy and vy cap plus dou by dou z. Instead of writing this lengthy equation, okay, I can just write this is equal to del v. Right now, simple. So del means this in the direction, this in the direction with the respective quantities. Any doubt? Any doubt? Okay, right. So no doubts. This means students are very intelligent. Okay, so I'm very happy for that. Let us continue. Yeah. Now, students, let us see what is gradient. What is gradient? This handwritten notes also I have. I'll give you. Okay. What is the relation between gradient and del? This you have learned in PU standard PUs, but you're not answering. Right. Now, if what is gradient? I have a scalar quantity. Okay. Potential. I have potential, you know, potential has only magnitude. The symbol is V. It has no direction. So this is a scalar quantity. Okay. I take a scalar quantity which is like potential. Okay. And then what we do? We perform any operation is performed on it, vector operation. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll write this as differentiation I'm doing, dou v by dou r. It is in some region, let us say, and this is ar cap. If I do some operation, vector operation in a scalar quantity, and if the product is vector quantity, then, okay, see, you know that what is the definition for electric field? Electric field is defined as minus dv by dr. Isn't it? Or if the distance is t, you wrote dv by dt. So see, this is a scalar quantity. When I do this differentiation, I get a vector quantity. Okay. Then what I can write? I will write E vector is equal to del v. I can write this as del v. So this is said electric field is equal to grade v. Gradient of v is equal to gradient del. So what is gradient? Gradient is a vector operation done on a scalar quantity. The result is a vector quantity. If the result is going to be vector quantity, so I will write this as electric field is grade v. Okay, so minus sign is there. So tell me what is gradient? Gradient is an operation which is performed on a scalar quantity. The result gives me a vector quantity which will have both magnitude and direction. Okay. Now, for example, I'll tell you, I have taken a region. This is the region. The potential is there. This electric potential is there everywhere. But it is what quantity? It is a scalar quantity, right? Now, so if a potential is everywhere same, V is equal to 0. Okay. But if there is difference in potential with respect to distance, this is at higher potential, this is at lower potential, then I'll get electric field. Then electric field is defined as minus dou v by dou r. Negative sign indicates that the potential is from higher level to is moving from higher level to lower level. The electric field is from higher level to lower level. The negative sign gives the direction from higher to lower. Okay, so differentiating potential gives me vector quantity, that is called gradient. That is called gradient. Okay, right. Now so we saw now what is this, is only definition you should know. Okay, now before I proceed, let us see, do you should know the direction of electric field. Okay, afterwards we'll see magnetic field also. If I have a point charge, a basic, these are point basics. If I have a positive charge, tell me how the lines of force will be. Are they coming towards the positive charge or away from the positive charge? I have, yes, it will be if I have a charge, that means there's an electric field. Okay, there's an electric field. Electric field can be represented by electric lines of force. This electric lines of force will be towards the, it will be towards the charge or away from the charge. I'm not drawing the arrow mark. Arrow mark, you will tell me how I should draw. I've drawn the electric lines of force because of this charge. This arrow mark I should draw towards or away from the positive charge. I'm asking only basics. Towards the positive charge? Away. So if you have doubt, if I draw this symbol, can you now guess how is the electric lines flowing? Is it flowing like this or like this? Tell me 1 or 2. Which is correct? 1 is correct or 2 is correct? Electric lines of force always start from positive charge, isn't it? And they start from positive charge and they're moving towards a negative charge. So here the arrow mark is away. If I have a positive charge, I should draw the arrow marks away. Okay, so now tell me, if I have a negative charge, I should draw it towards the negative charge. I should draw it towards the negative charge. Okay, in the same way, if I have a parallel plate, because all this we are going to use to derive the equations. If I have a parallel plate which is having positive charges only, then how I'll draw the arrow mark? Away from the positive charge. Away from the positive charge. Okay. Now, if again I have another plate which is having negative charges, then I should draw the arrow marks towards the negative charge. Towards the negative charge. Or can you tell me the one definition for this? For all these 4 diagrams, when you see, what is the definition for direction of electric lines of force? Their electric lines of force are moving in the direction where the positive charge will experience the force. Now see, if I have a plus charge here, I keep a plus charge here. Tell me, it will experience force this side or this side? Because plus charge is here. It will be repelled by the positive charge, so it will be moved away, isn't it? So here also, if I have a plus charge, it will be repelled. Whereas here, if I have a plus charge, how it will be moving? It will be moving like this. So direction of electric lines is given by the direction in which the positive charges are experiencing the force. Here also, if I keep a positive charge, how it will be? It will be moving away. So this is how we represent the electric lines of force. We need this for the next topic. Okay, students. Now let us see just one topic: divergence and curl. Divergence and curl of divergence of vector. Okay. Okay. Divergence of vector, we'll write this side, and this side we'll write the curl of the vector. Curl of vector. Okay, because in so many in some places, I'll show you, some places the electric lines are diverging or converging. Divergence is a scalar quantity. Okay, that means we are talking only about magnitude. Curl is a which quantity? If this is scalar, this is vector. It has both magnitude and direction. Okay, now I will draw, then you will understand. Okay, I have a positive charge. Okay, I have a positive charge here. Now how I'll draw the lines of force? I'll draw the lines of force away. You understood why? Okay, because this is a positive charge, the lines of force are away. Okay, if there's a negative charge, you know that the lines will be towards the negative charge, because it is the direction in which the positive charge is experiencing force, right? Another case what I'll do, it is like anywhere in some field there is a some electric field is there. This is the point. Now tell me, let us see what is divergence. Divergence is it is a scalar quantity. It is giving me measure of how much the field is converging or diverging at a given point. How much divergence gives a measure of how much the field is diverging, okay, or converging at a given point. Okay, now see here it is converging or diverging at point P. If this is the point P, I'll say this also point P. At point P, are the lines converging or diverging? Are they moving away or coming towards? Diverging means moving away, isn't it? So in figure 1, the field is diverging or converging? Moving away means diverging, no? So it is diverging. Okay, in figure 1, the flux lines are diverging, and so we say divergence is positive. In figure 1, the divergence is positive because I have a positive charge here. Okay, here if the flux lines are converging, then the divergence is negative. Okay, then the divergence is negative. Now, can someone guess here? Here what is happening at point P? The flux lines are coming also and they're meeting also. The equal number is leaving also. What will happen? In figure diagram 1, I said divergence is positive. Okay, because it is diverging. So divergence is a measure of how much the flux lines are converging at a point or diverging at a point. Okay, so figure 1 is positive divergence. Figure 2 is negative divergence. I'm asking you a hint. Tell me at 3 what will happen?
0 divergence.
1 minute.
0 divergence.
0 is correct. 0 is correct. Who is this? Who is this? You don't want 5 marks. Who is that? Who said 0? Huh?
Rohit.
Rohit. Okay, Rohit, you came back. When I called you, you didn't answer your attendance. Okay, so very good guess, Rohit. Okay, you also remember 5 marks. Okay. So when all the others are getting 20, you may get for 25, you will get 25 out of 25. So answering is important because yeah. So at this point, you are saying it is 0, no? Because the equal number of flux are meeting, they're leaving also. Here, divergence is 0. Divergence is 0. Okay, divergence is 0. This is called what field? You know, if its divergence is 0, it is called solenoidal field. It is called a solenoidal field. Solenoidal field.
Ma'am, how it is 0, ma'am?
Yeah, tell me.
How it is 0?
Why it is not 0? See, at point P, okay, what is the effect? All the flux lines are meeting. Okay. And
yes, ma'am.
The flux lines are converging at point P. How many ever? See, this I have drawn only 5 lines, no? So many lines are converging and they are diverging at a given point. So it is 0. So such divergence is called solenoidal field. Okay, and how we are going to represent this divergence? You know, we are going to represent divergence by A dot A vector, where all this were, if this was the field, A vector field, if this is a vector field, divergence is represented by A del dot A. Del dot A. Okay, so that is how that's why we have to see basics of scalar product we saw. Okay, and what is this? And divergence of vector deals only with how from a given body the flux lines are diverging or converging. Example is river. Okay, if there is a river flowing, if you are just watching how the river is flowing, that is an example of divergence. Okay, now from the name itself, curl, and how is the divergence represented? Divergence is represented by del dot A, and in this case it is equal to 0. Okay, del dot A is equal to 0. And you know that, and del dot A, how I can represent? You know, we wrote that, no? So this is AX cap plus dou by AY, dou Y. Here AX cap will come. Okay, no need. This is AY plus dou AZ by dou Z. Okay, this is how we represent. Any doubt here? Okay, because see, del, you know already, del is what? Del is this. Which vector? A vector. All the components x, y, z. So this is how we represent. Okay, and divergence we can define as the flux which is coming out from a given volume. Flux is defined as total flux coming out from a given volume. We are talking about the total things that is coming out from a given volume. For example, this is the volume. Okay, this is the point. Okay, what is the flux coming out from this whole volume? Is called divergence of a vector, and we can write divergence of a vector, that is del dot A is equal to, and the point has to shrink to 0. Okay, so the volume is shrinking to 0. Total outward flux of the vector A vector per unit volume. So definition of divergence is, it is a total outward flux per unit volume as the volume shrinks to 0. As the volume shrinks to 0. Okay, and so if the same thing, if I write in expression, I'll write limiting delta V tends to 0 of integrating A dot ds. Now only you'll feel what is Maxwell's equation per volume. Okay, which is equal to del dot A vector, which is equal to dou AX by dou X plus dou AY by dou Y plus dou AZ by dou Z. Okay, so divergence is has only magnitude. It is a scalar product. Okay, it gives me a measure of how much the flux line is converging or diverging at a given point. It is defined as total outward flux per unit volume. Total outward flux per unit volume. So for this expression, for whatever is written, if I have to write it in this in mathematical expression, has a volume shrinks to 0. Total outward flux per unit volume. This is area, this is volume, right? Surface by unit per unit volume. Whatever is the definition I have written here, the mathematical expression is this. And this is equal to del dot A. Okay. Yeah. Now, curl means what? Curl means if I have a magnetic field in the river or in the anywhere, no, you must have seen this what we call this whirlpool, no? You have seen that water will be moving very fast and it will pull you down in the rivers. If the water is more, that is called whirlpool. There we talk about curl of the vector. If the field is rotating, we'll talk about curl of the vector. Okay. Now, whenever I have, for example, if I have a current carrying conductor, okay, I have a conductor which is carrying current. So whenever current carrying conductor is there is a magnetic field. I draw that field. I'm drawing this magnetic field. Okay. Now, so how to know the strength of the magnetic field? Draw tangent. Draw tangent to this field. If the magnitude of this tangent is small, curl is small. Okay, curl is small. If the field is very strong, very vigorous field I have, when I draw the tangent, I'll get the tangent very big. If the magnitude of this tangent is more, I'll say the curl is large, vigorous. Okay, the curl is vigorous. Then, can you guess, if this is the condition, I have a field I have a field here, but now tell me at this point, what is a curl? Here curl is small curl. Okay, here curl is large. Here how is the curl?
0.
Curl is 0. Good. Okay, so good guess. So I'll write del cross A vector is equal to 0. Okay, such a field is called, in divergence it was solenoidal, such a field is called irrotational. If I have a unit magnetic, you can see, no, here the field is not curling. It is not curling. So such a field is called irrotational. Okay, irrotational. So let me write the equation for curl. With that we can stop. Okay, so we are told not to post the PPTs in the group. So that's why I'm not posting. Okay, curl of the vector, how I'll write, it has direction also. Okay, and so is equal to these are the numericals are going to be very good here, because we are going to max only. It is going to be AY cap, AZ cap. Direction is there for this. That's why we are including these base vectors. Then dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z. Then AX, AY, AZ. This is represented like that. Curl of a vector is defined as, okay, in terms of detergent. You have this determinant. You have seen, no? In max also you are doing. So this is how. Okay, and how to define it? Where is my pen? Okay, curl of the divergence of vector was maximum flux per unit volume. Here has the area shrinks to 0. Curl is, we are going to talk about only rotation on the boundary. The curl is rotating only on the boundary. Okay, so we are talking to this. We are talking about the rotation has a limiting. It tends to 0. Maximum circulation about the point, about a given point at point P per delta S. Curl will talk only about circulations around a given conductor. Okay, whereas divergence through the whole volume of the material. So I can write this in mathematical expression as is equal to limiting delta S tends to 0. That means we want it should be a point. This volume should become a point volume or point area. A dot dl, okay, by AS, and this is depending on direction. So AN cap. AN cap means, so this is equal to, I'll write this. This is also equal to that expression limiting delta S tends to 0, integrating A dot dl. The total flux circulating about a given surface is called curl of a vector. Okay, so this is about, so in general, divergence means how the field is diverging or converging at a given point. Curl means how the field is rotating about a given boundary. How it is rotating about a given boundary. It has direction. So we use we have to use this unit vector. We have to use this unit vectors also. Okay, students. So now let me check.